This is a Glendale Library Arts and Culture program, created for teens, edited and hosted by the Teen Library staff. Check out community service opportunities and teen events down in the description box.
Hi everyone, it's Melissa.
And Desiree.
Welcome to another episode of Teen Gen Talks, where the goal is to empower the youth in Glendale and connect youth to community resources, individuals, and organizations through interviews and discussions.
So grab a snack and drink and join us as we welcome our special guest today, John Maghaguian, who is the Community Service Supervisor with the City of Glendale's Community Services and Park Department. He has worked for the City of Glendale since 2005 in youth, homeless, and senior programs, and currently is overseeing the Youth and Family Services Unit.
Thank you, John, for taking the time out of your day to talk with us.
No problem. Thank you for having me.
To start off this interview, can you talk a bit about your role as Community Service Supervisor and how you got to this position?
Sure. So originally I started working for the City of Glendale in 2005 as a recreation leader for sports programs at Maple Park Community Center. I got hired there in full-time in about 2006. Did youth programs for about 5 years, and about 2010 or 11 I got transferred to senior services. And I worked there for about 6 or 7 years doing case management for seniors, running senior facilities like the Adult Recreation Center and Spar Heights Community Center. In 2018, I got promoted up to supervisor to oversee the One Glendale Sports Program and Youth and Family Services Unit for the Parks Department. So that's kind of where I am now. 15 years goes by in a flash. In the meantime, in some of those years where I spent with senior services, I worked with homeless services as well. I got a chance to do some CDBG contracts and analyst work. I've had an opportunity to kind of touch all the different sections in the department, so it's pretty cool. Resources kind of grow, with the amount of years you spend. So it's gone by very quickly.
That's actually pretty cool.
It is pretty cool.
I think I've worked for the city. I started 1 year less than you, I think.
Yeah, it's funny.
I started 2005.
Someone, I'm like, how many years have I been working officially? Like, you're coming up to 15 years. I'm like, 15 years as a full-timer. So it's like, that's like it's my passion. I love recreation. I love youth. I like it's the perfect environment to work in for me. So for it to have gone by that fast, it flew, because I thought I was going to be a school teacher originally when I went to CSUN.
Oh, okay.
So, and we can talk a little bit about that too.
Talking about school, you graduated from CSUN with a liberal arts studies degree and a master's in public administration. How do you use your degrees in the various programs you have been part of?
Well, liberal studies it was a degree in K through 6 education. And like I said, I'm a youth sports supervisor. And even before I worked for the City of Glendale, I was all boys and girls clubs and youth and programming. So the liberal studies part was very natural. It was, working with kids, doing cohorts, going into classrooms, observations. I was halfway through my teaching credential in 2006 when I got a job offer from the City of Glendale to be full-time for my part-time position. So that kind of changed my career completely. I dropped out of the credential program because I had a daughter on the way, and I just recently gotten married. So I thought, hey, I need a job, and insurance and all that stuff that comes with working. So with the master's degree, what I find to be the most useful part about my master's degree is the group work and the interpersonal skills that you develop at the advanced level of education. Like, everybody is getting after it. It's not a matter of did you do your work or hey, what was your part. If you think you're in there to get it done, everybody else is going as fast as you are to accomplish projects, and you learn how to meet deadlines and be more efficient. So that applies to my work directly now. There's deadlines left and right, and you're constantly reinventing the programming that you're doing, especially now with COVID. So I apply it every day, my education.
And you talked how you wanted to be like a teacher. Was it hard to give that up?
It was. And I still think about it sometimes, as weird as that sounds. I know people are going to hear this and go, what are you talking about? I'm like, I was drawn to being a teacher, and I have a lot of people that I know that are in education. They're like, you would have made a great principal or an assistant principal or, a counselor, and, with all the mental health stuff going on and all the things that we do. I feel drawn to helping folks, and that age group kind of really, the teen group and the youth school age group was very relative to what I wanted to do. So yeah, it was hard, but once you find a new passion, it doesn't feel like you gave anything up at all. It feels like you made the right decision. So at this point in my career, I know I didn't do anything wrong, but 2007 or 8, I might have said something different.
Right. And you've mentioned like you've been part of a lot of programs. Do you have a favorite program you have completed with the city?
Well, my most recent program is One Glendale. And One Glendale is a youth sports program that's a collaboration with the Glendale Unified School District, where we work with fourth and fifth graders and we bring them into sports programs, volleyball, basketball, soccer, and flag football. And I love it because it's a daily sports program, but there's case management involved. There's administrators in school involved. There's parents involved. There's hospitals involved. There's tons of sponsors and stakeholders like PD and fire. So you learn how to juggle quite a lot simultaneously. And again, it goes back to school. How many balls can you have in there before you're like, oh, I think I'm stressed out, you know?
Mm.
So yeah, One Glendale. And then when I did the senior services, I really enjoyed working with seniors and homeless clients as well. But my passion has really become youth and family services and helping teens figure out what direction they're going with their lives career wise. Like, and we'll talk about this soon. We're mainly a referral and resource center. So we're constantly giving information out to our teens so that they can be more efficient and productive.
Yeah, that's awesome. I really do think that's a good, tool for the teens to have, really. And what is an unlikely thing that you have learned from working with teens that you didn't expect to learn?
I love the passion, the ones that are involved and the ones that want their community service hours and want their forms filled out and they engage and they're passionate about, the topics and they're involved. But then I've learned that there's a procrastinating group that is just doing it to do it. And they're like, you almost have to pull them along and say, hey, it's your turn to speak. Or no matter what program I'm doing, whether it's virtual or in person, there's always 5 or 6 that are really into it. And there's always like 7 or 8 that you're like, hey, if you want your hours, you're going to have to participate. So I'm learning how to balance the ones who are really interested in what they're there to do that day, or the ones that are just trying to gather, a little bit of hours or whatever they're doing. So it's a little bit of both, the positives and the negatives, and getting the ones that aren't thinking straight to really get on that right path.
Speaking of programs, you are currently overseeing the Youth and Family Services Unit. Could you explain a little bit more about Teen Night Out, a virtual Teen Night Out, Juvenile Ultimatum, service training, community-based teen volunteering, and annual high school resource fair?
Yes, I'll start with Teen Night Out, which is developed into quite a nice turnout every week. Before COVID, we would do it. We would do workshops twice a month, but now we're doing them every week because it's virtual. And I just felt like the community needed more resources, so we were able to. We were normally doing them on Friday nights, but a lot of our presenters and a lot of our teams were like, we don't want to do it on Friday night, so we moved it to Thursday night, which was a pivot. But at the same time, I'm catering to the community. The presenters and the kids or students are saying, hey, can we do it on a different night? So we moved virtual. We do it every Thursday night. Like this month we just did one yesterday. It was called Love Yourself, Love Your Life, where it was about self-love. How do you love yourself? How are you good to yourself? Next month, surprise, I haven't told anybody yet, but we're doing March Madness. We're bringing in the head coach from Glendale Community College to talk about basketball, and we're bringing in some basketball historians to discuss Glendale basketball over like the last few decades. And I'm always trying to keep it new, and we bring in realtors and we bring in attorneys and we bring in doctors so that it's not vocational training. It's more about you get to speak firsthand with people in professions that you might want to have in the future. So how often does a high school student get to talk to a real doctor or a real attorney or a real broker of loans or, a pop-up technology president or someone who works for Parks that does all the hiring? So Teen Night Out gives them the chance to do that. The community service hours, they get those either in person, but now if they come to virtual Teen Night Out, we give them 2 hours for participating. So they can get up to as many as 8 hours a month just coming to Teen Night Out. But they must participate, they must engage, and they must want to be there, because otherwise I'm not just going to sign something that says, oh, they just showed up. Yeah, you showed up, but you didn't even try. So you're not going to get credit that day. So I kind of use it to bring in teens. But once they get there, that's our chance to really get to know them and find out what's going on in their brains and what they're good at and what they'd like to see more of. The Just is like a case management program. So Juvenile Ultimatum Services Training is basically if you got into trouble, if you were vaping or you were smoking pot or you got caught drinking in the park, you got community service hours. Where are you going to go? Well, we give you a place to come and burn those hours off peacefully. You'll learn how to be part of our team. We'll embrace you as someone that's working with us. Like I'll have one Glendale sports event. I'll bring them out, community service kids out to the field, the case management. They'll work with me there. They'll get supervision, they'll get mentorship, and they'll do their 20, 30 hours. We also have a case management program. That's just simply if someone that's in the youth and family age range of 13 to 17 to 18 that needs support in the home or needs resources and referrals, we try to provide them that as well. So that's a kind of an all-encompassing what we do for youth and family. Now we do have a big, the resource fair went from in-person to virtual. So on March 2nd, we are collaborating with the Glendale Unified School District's College and Career Division, and we're going to put on a virtual resource fair. And we've already invited and got confirmations from police, cadet programs, fire cadet programs, the library, Glendale Aquatics, Public Works, all the parks sections are coming. We're going to have as many as 11, 12 virtual rooms that if they're interested in being a police officer, they can actually talk to a police officer. And what does it take for me to be a cadet? What do I need to have? Does my record have to be like this? Or how do you, when do I apply? What are the time frames? We're going to have the Verdugo Job Center. We're going to have the Glendale Youth Alliance in one place at one time virtually. And they'll pre-register for their rooms. And then we'll do a welcome. It's on March 2nd. The welcome is going to be at 3:30. I can share with you all the flyer. And then everyone can that's interested can jump in. And even if you're not a high school student or you want to just kind of find out about a topic, you can always reach out to me and I can at least link you up with the right person. So we're excited about that virtual resource fair for sure.
That's amazing.
Yeah, a lot of great opportunities for teens. And you've mentioned how you have a lot of guest speakers, so that requires a lot of, I'm assuming, networking and, talking to a bunch of people. So how do you network and how do you keep these relationships so that, they could potentially help teens?
Ultimately, that's the most important thing that I could share with you guys today. Cultivating relationships that become your contacts that you could reach out to at any point in time. And I just said 15 years in the city of Glendale. In 15 years, you'll make a friend at PD. You'll make a contact at fire. You have your own parks folks. Then you got hey, you work with homeless services. You got this individual. Hey, you got a friend that's a realtor. So yes, sometimes I feel the pressure of, oh God, we got to do 4 presentations a month. Like that's a lot to bring 4 presenters, get the rooms full, get everything set up. And then make the flyers and promote it and have 30, 40 teams actually show up to it. Yes, it's partnerships, it's collaborations, but by building that collaboration, I'm also giving the presenter a stake in Glendale. I'm saying this is your opportunity to reach out to the teen community and really tell them what it takes to do X, Y, or Z, to work at a hospital as a volunteer or to work as a chef in a restaurant. This is your chance. I mean, it's all volunteer. No one's getting paid anything. It's simply out of the goodness of your heart. What are you willing to do for the community? We have like the Glendale Association of Realtors participate quite a bit. We have the Armenian Bar Association come in, and these are all private businesses, but they're sharing all of this insight, So yeah, it takes collaboration, but at the end of the day, at the end of most teen night outs, everyone's really happy with the product because everyone's involved. It's the city, it's the private or public entity that's also presenting, and it's the community. So yes, it's a collaboration amongst all of us.
Awesome.
Because I was going to say, I think that's what we're trying to do with the podcast too.
Yeah, when it comes down to it, it really does come down to contacts and people that are willing to put themselves out there and say, yeah, sure, I'll do that. Not everybody wants to do that. Not everybody. Oh, well, what does that mean? I've had people say, what do I have to do? What do I have to do? Do I do a PowerPoint?
Right.
Are you going to help me if I get stuck? Yeah, absolutely. Like I know not everybody's equipped to be a public speaker, or they get terrified at moments where even if it's 3 people in the virtual room, they're like, oh my God. I'm like, you're good. We're all here. It's a lot of fun. Put a smile on your face. And even if you get a little rattled, no worries. We're all in this together. Ultimately, we appreciate that you're doing it. So if I could give you both a suggestion and anyone listening, take phone numbers down. Say hello. Say thank you. Say I appreciate that. You're welcome. Use all the affirmations you can think of, because ultimately, your first impression might be the only impression you get. And people are quick to say, oh, I don't know about that. I watched that and it wasn't for me. Or you got to kind of convince them, like, trust me, you want to do this. You're going to feel good. When I'm done with this today, I'm going to feel good that I did this with you both, because ultimately, we all need everyone to help out. You guys have a program. We have plenty of programs. You're helping me and I'm helping you.
Right.
And that's what it comes down to.
Yeah. I love that. Thank you for,
Yes.
sharing
you.
your wisdom.
Right.
And ultimately, I'll ask more park staff to hopefully be able to help you guys out too.
Oh, thank you. We appreciate that.
Yep.
So teens often feel like they don't have a voice in the community. This may be a misconception, but do you have any advice for a teen to feel more connected to the community?
Get yourself out there. Start volunteering. Honestly, it's really up to you. Procrastination will get you nowhere. If you are motivated, you can accomplish pretty much anything. We all have our own backgrounds and stories to tell. No one gifted me an opportunity. Trust me, every day is a grind. But if you love the grind, as a teen, if you find something that you love, even if it's not something you end up doing in the future, it'll teach you the ropes. It'll teach you how to be punctual. It'll teach you how to be responsible, how to dress appropriately, how to say, like I said, how to use the right language. That with a nice education mixed together, sky's the limit. You could be anything you want. Honestly, I believe that. I have two children of my own, and I tell my kids all the time, you can be anything you want. You just have to really want it. You could say you want it, but your results will speak for themselves. And if you need help, you should ask. If you need a tutor, if you're struggling in class, like a lot of us struggle with math, for example, there's a lot of free resources out there that students may or may not know about. So it's really up to them to go on the library webpage, to go on the parks webpage. If they see a flyer they like, they need to click and ask questions and follow up. And that goes back to Teen Night Out. I'll have teens scrambling at the last moment to get a Zoom invite or calling me like as it's going on and my phone's ringing. But you missed the boat that time. You didn't do enough beforehand to get to where you need to be. So that's a lesson learned on that weekend. They'll reach out to me and say, listen, next week, reach out to me on Tuesday or Wednesday, tell me what's going on and I'll get you settled in. But if you're calling me at 6:15 and it started at 6, you did something wrong. So my advice is get out there, try. And if you fail, that's okay. No one's going to bite your head off. In fact, there's a quote in front of me. If you're afraid to fail, then you're probably going to fail. Kobe Bryant. Simple as that sounds, right?
Yeah.
He had that Mamba mentality. He knew what he wanted to do every day. He worked out 3-4 times a day. And in a minute, you guys are going to ask me what book I'm reading. And I got a good one for you guys.
Nice.
I'm a big sports motivation guy. Obviously, sports is my thing, and a big Laker fan and sports in general. And there's a lot to be learned by building teams, building groups. It goes back to the partnerships and the collaborations too.
Say my dad actually, when my sister and I we were little, he would write like John Wooden quotes for us on our
Pyramid of
sandwiches.
success. I'm a big John Wooden guy. Yeah, you gotta have a foundation. I hope everyone that's listening understands. You're not going to be at the pinnacle on the first day. You got to climb up that ladder, and that starts with hard work. Every day, you got to put in an effort doing something. So ultimately, what it comes down to is how hard are you willing to work, and if you find motivation in sports or you find motivation in whatever, cultivate that. Spend time learning more about some of those superheroes you really care about. But Kobe and John Wooden or the book I'm going to discuss with you guys, to me, they're mentors. And I've never met, obviously, we've never met. I don't know anyone. We know the passing of Kobe, but ultimately, I don't need them to sit in front of me to motivate me. I can read about it. I can watch YouTube. I can ask questions. So
there's a lot of inspiration everywhere. So
sure is.
Yeah. And what do you wish to see in the future in regards to the community voicing the teens' needs and wishes?
I hope that we can expand programming to have more teen programs. I'd like to see us have our specific events geared for teens to be really teen friendly, teen user friendly, where they're anxious to be here versus thinking like it's a requirement of something. Like my goal is to make it teen friendly as possible. Recreation kind of gives me that angle. Workshops is part of it, but there's also a recreation component to Teen Night Out where when we're doing in person, they're not physically listening to a workshop. They can play the PS4, they can hang out with staff, they can play basketball, they can play ping pong. We kind of touch base with them how they're doing in school, but we don't force them into conversation. We kind of let them come to us. So I'd like to see teens have more things to do. When the skate park kind of gets back open and everyone's back out and about, I'd love to see, like, we used to do Battle of the Bands for teens at the Verdugo skate park. It was called Equinox. A long time ago, I did that. I was a teen specialist. And one day I'd love to be able to, and this is my own department, I'd love to be able to bring back that wonderful special event where there was a battle of the bands, there was henna, there was, I don't know, color your hair. There was, we had skate competitions, we had prizes, the community came out. There's a lot more things like that going on for the youth and the seniors. And I'd like to see that special events geared specifically towards teens. And I think we can do that in the next year or two.
I agree, because there is a lot of like children, like, programs and senior programs, but
Those are citywide events. That's for everyone.
Right.
We're
yeah,
talking
exactly.
about what's in it for the teens here. So
Exactly.
even though they can go to tree lighting and they can, for Christmas and they can go do some of the 10K and what's for the teens specifically, maybe a special event once a year that's like everybody comes out and parties and we have music and bands, skating and food, and it's a nice, safe, comfortable environment. We've done it in the past. Definitely very doable.
I love that. Because we did that. I don't know if you heard of the Teen Gen Fair,
I
2 years ago?
I did.
Yes.
Yeah, I wasn't in this, but I was just coming into the position. I remember you guys did that on the library, right?
Yeah, me and Melissa coordinated that all, and that was like the goal. Yeah, we did.
Yeah,
I would love to help if that comes back at some point. Count me in 100%. Yeah, anything you guys are doing, just shoot me, email them in.
Awesome. Thank you.
Before we end, we have some rapid fire questions. The first question is, what is your favorite color?
Well, gray, navy blue, royal blue. If you ask my wife, she just rattle off black, white, blue, gray. So that's cool.
What is something you have been proud to say that you have accomplished?
My family having good values and coming to work every day with a good work ethic. I think that integrity is incredibly important in work, and building good values with my family and building good values with my team here at work are very important to me. And I think we're doing that every day.
That's great. So what is some advice that you wish you would have known when you were younger?
Work harder. Like, just work, man. I mean, like, if you have something to do it on time. And honestly, do it well. Take the time that's required. Teens, if you're listening, do it right the first time. Ask questions. If you don't know, ask your teacher. Try to get answers before you submit your work, because ultimately, once you click submit, that's the result. So take your time. I know it's virtual. I know it's difficult, everyone. I get it. Trust me. But at the end of the day, you owe it to yourself to work really hard every day, because then when you are vacationing and when you are getting some time to enjoy, you've earned that. You don't feel guilty for taking a couple of days off and doing something you like, because you work so hard. And when you do get back after you take a little bit of time off, you get right back to business. So you don't kind of get back to work. No, you get back.
Can you describe yourself as a teenager in 3 words?
Silly, funny, learning.
So if you could have 3 people dead or alive for dinner, who would it be?
Well, unfortunately, Kobe. Chadwick Boseman, who played the Black Panther, who recently passed away from cancer too. Definitely, I'm in my 40s, so they were like, it almost felt so tight. We all took it so hard. And then for the person, I just enjoy spending time with my wife, so maybe she could join us too.
Yeah.
Chadwick, me and my wife.
That's awesome. And what is a book that you have read recently or are currently reading that you would recommend?
Can you guys see this? It's called 11 Rings by Phil Jackson. Okay, Phil Jackson is, well, in my opinion, the greatest basketball coach of all time. He managed the biggest egos of all time.
Yeah.
Michael Jordan, Kobe Bryant, Shaquille O'Neal, Scottie Pippen had a big ego, Dennis Rodman. He used the circle, he used like restorative circles before anybody was really talking about him. He did the whole sage, the whole meditation and yoga. He really centered, imagine the stress level that these athletes at the highest level are dealing with. He won 6 straight world championships with the Chicago Bulls. He won 3 straight championships with the Los Angeles Lakers, then came back and won 2 straight more. So his ability to galvanize a team, I would suggest everyone read the book, because you'll learn how to bring people together in a peaceful way. I know with the school district, restorative circles are such a big deal, but that's kind of where it started. It started with, he didn't start it, but generally speaking, like, peaceful mediation is what I got out of the book. And so I would suggest if you have the time, it's a great read with great suggestions on how to keep things joyful and peaceful in your lives.
Thank you so much, John. We learned a lot about you. Thanks for taking the time out of your day to talk with us. Can you let everyone at home know about any upcoming projects and where they can connect with you?
Yeah, so we do virtual teen night out every Thursday night. Coming up in March, we have March Madness. So if you see my name on a flyer or if you see something you're interested in, please reach out to me. And we're going to have a virtual resource fair on March 2nd. If you see the flyer and you're interested, click the link, sign up for the rooms you want to be in, and get something out of it. Bring a notepad, bring a pencil and a paper, take down the contact information, and use it to your finest abilities, because you don't always get those opportunities.
Awesome. Thank you so much, John.
Thank
We
you.
really
Thank
appreciate it.
you.
Have a good day.
You too.
All right.
Yeah.
Bye.
Bye.
Hi, everyone. It's Desiree again.
Yeah, Melissa.
Did you enjoy this episode?
I'm sure you did.
Then please make sure to give this video a like, subscribe, and turn on post notifications for this channel.
Check out the teen content video playlist here and our latest Teen Gen episode here.
Thanks. Bye.
Bye.